Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. So two things before we start this video. I wanted to say thank you for all the support in my last video. I know it was, a little different, but thank you for all the support. Second thing is that, Tuesday's video is going to be another Q&A, so I know a few people have commented questions on the last video, but feel free to ask some more on this video, and I will be answering all those questions next video. So, by the title of this video, you know what it's going to be about. It is going to be about COVID-19, and I'm answering some questions some people have asked me and just kind of giving my opinion on it. So here it is. So honestly, there's a lot of things that are circling on in the news. Obviously, that it's fake news and all that stuff. Honestly, I think that it's real and people are getting really sick and dying. Not everybody, but there are people that are dying from it. So I think people need to start taking it more seriously and not... This is actually going to tie into another question. Look, does it suck that, states or provinces are going into lockdown, that businesses are shutting down? Yes, it sucks. We don't here in Canada really have a traveling ban, so you can travel, but you shouldn't. Common sense is not. You just can't do everyday things like you used to. You have to wear a mask on where you go. And I know a lot of people saying, oh, that's causing me depression. And, it's bad for my mental health. It is saving your life. Yes, does it suck? Obviously, but, it's for the greater good. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm now working. Again, so this is going to tie into a few questions. And I have to wear my mask for 8+ hours sometimes. And I don't know how doctors and nurses can do it for like 32 hours straight. Like 8+ hours for me, it's not a struggle. Like, it's just by the end of it, like, I just feel like I can't breathe properly. And I just get all hot, but I know that it's for a greater good. Like, I don't understand. People should just wear the mask, do it. If not, then don't go out. Like, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't seem like a big deal. There's some, you can get some real cool masks that match your outfit. Like, I've seen it. People have a mask for like every outfit. I mean, that's pretty cool, but it's a little thing. Honestly, it could be a lot worse than what it is. And yes, it's annoying that we keep getting shut down. I think that our government should just lock it down and stop talking about, oh, we might do this, we might do that, and actually do it, or do something that's productive. Because since this last lockdown that I've been in, where I am is in Ontario, we have had cases skyrocket because people are just getting tired of this whole back and forth bullshit. And it is hard, but it's really, something that we have to do. And I just think that there has to be stricter guidelines and stricter things. Now, people might come for me and say, well, that's bad for mental health and all that stuff. I understand that, and I know that that's a struggle for some people throughout this. And there are certain situations like domestic violence that this does really truly affect. And my heart goes out to those people, and I wish that wasn't a thing. It's just, it's frustrating when things are just kind of up in the air. That's kind of like how am I holding up in quarantine? I've been busy in quarantine with just family stuff. I've been keeping busy at my place, so like doing housework, reading, writing. I am quarantining with some family members, so well, I'm going back to work, so I have to be very careful with that. But I mean, nothing really drastically changed in my life. Yes, I did lose my job, basically for a year. Now I'm back to work. But besides that, nothing really drastically changed in my life. Like, I wasn't really like, again, minus the job, I wasn't really, like, my life didn't come to an end type of thing. Like, I didn't, you know, I actually gained some stuff, a few family members, and I'm gonna keep that situation private due to the respect of their privacy and whatnot. But, you know, it was a little bit of adjustment, because, you know, the family members that I am, you know, quarantining with, it is an adjustment, because we used to be able to go our own ways, right? One person went out of the house to work, another person, you know, stayed. I was in and out with work. But yeah, I mean, it's an adjustment that didn't take too long. We just kind of had to figure out our own little areas, and we went to it. You know, I went back to school too, and still I'm doing school, so that was good. But yeah, like, nothing really drastically changed in my life, minus the job. Does COVID change how I foresee things? That's it's a tough question, and not because, like, okay, so I'm just gonna be honest with this. Look, I knew something eventually was going to come down the pipeline. I didn't know that it was a pandemic. I didn't know what it was, but I knew something was eventually going to come down the pipeline that would probably affect the whole world. And this has, right? It's just, you know, I'm a type of person that likes to take one day at a time. Yes, kind of look into the future, but it hasn't really changed how I see things or foresee things. This has shined a light on things that are broken in our system, that need work, that it's not perfect, but what system is. But again, it needs a lot of work. But you know, I really hope that this does teach us a lesson, so we can go forth and do better things and work better with each other and communicate better, and just kind of not bitch about something that's out of our hands. And I know that seems harsh, but what I'm saying is, you can never foresee things, right? You can never plan for the unplannable. It's just, when it does come to head, type of just how you handle it. And it's just like, yes, a lot of it's out of our hands and stuff, but just kind of do what you can to put forth. But I mean, it hasn't really changed how I thought about it. Do I see the world ever getting back to normal? And how long are you guessing is going to take? Basically, what I'm saying for that question is, I think honestly it's going to take us a lot longer to, I don't think we're ever going to get back to what we used to be. I mean, we're going on a whole year of a pandemic. You know, that hasn't happened for 100 years. Things will change. I don't think we're ever going to go back to normal of what our lives used to be. I think it's going to be a lot different, but I think it's going to be a lot, hopefully a lot smoother for a lot more people. I'm honestly aiming for another year or two. That's just to kind of get cases and everything under control. And I could be overshooting that. I don't know, but I'm just saying that just the way things are going, it does look like it's going to take a lot longer. I mean, again, honestly, it could change. We could have a miracle and things just, bam, everything's back to normal. But honestly, where I am right now in Ontario, it's we're backtracking a lot. We're doing the back paddle, and it's I think it's going to take us a bit. Fully, I think it would take us 3, maybe 4 years to maybe, like, I think without the masks, I might be overshooting this, but I think it's going to take us quite some time to get back to like normal for traveling and all that stuff. Granted, people are doing that now, so I mean, you know, take that with a grain of salt. What lessons have I, if any, have I learned during the pandemic? I would probably say, so I'm gonna say that, I mean, every day I learn something new. I know this sounds cheesy, but just bear with me. And I'm always up for learning. But during this pandemic, it has taught me that things can go out of your hands very easily, okay? I used to be that person where I plan out stuff, and I used to be a little bit more relaxed with that, but now when the pandemic hit, it was kind of like, okay, everything's out of my fucking hands, like just go with the flow type of thing. Things can change hourly, some can change daily, weekly, monthly. It's just kind of like learning to just let go of the reins and just go with the flow. That's what it's basically taught me, because you can't always plan, because you don't always know the future, what the future holds, right? I've learned to be patient with myself when I'm, you know, stressed or uncertain of things. Just be patient, more easier on myself. Don't be so harsh. And you know, it's there was a situation a few months ago that I was reaching the boiling point of everything that was going on. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so much shit was going on. But I learned to, like, I had to, like, just take that deep breath and, you know, deal with what was going on, and then kind of focus on myself and put that kind of like, hey, I need a moment type of thing, find my voice type of thing, and just kind of focus on myself for that moment and then move forward, instead of kind of just pushing through it and then, you know, having a complete breakdown. It's also taught me self-love when I have a depressive episode. I had I had one a few weeks ago, and I just learned a little bit of more self-love, that, you know, yes, the world is panicking, but also it's at a standstill. And I had to, and this had nothing to do with the pandemic, it just, you know, happens. I had an episode and that was it. But I learned to love myself through it, and just show myself more patience, and just be like, hey, it's okay to have a bad day type of thing, and really kind of focus on that, instead of just being put it on like my shoulder and be like, oh hey, you know, it's having a bad day, and okay, that's cool. But to actually just sit through and work through it, you know, yeah, self-love. I mean, it's petty things that I've learned and worked on, but I think it's good lessons in general. I touched on this earlier, but more so about the mental health. I honestly, okay, so this, I find that it's gone a few directions where, yes, it has affected mental health, that, you know, people have more anxiety, you know, they're trapped inside. Well, you know, they don't want to leave the house, so they're more depressed, right? That happens. But I also, there's that. And I think those people are being not seen or heard as much, because those people that are being like, oh, if I wear a mask, I'm going to be depressed. And you hear more about those people than about the people that are actually suffering. And I think that also, I talked about this in a few videos ago, that it's not that it's overplayed, but I think that doctors have overheard it, if that makes sense. So it's just like, oh, well, I'm depressed because of the pandemic. And, you know, they go through all this, and they just think it's easier to just throw medication at it, because there is, you know, a lot more people, or they just kind of shrug it off and like, oh, it's the pandemic, you'll get over it. And you kind of get lost in that kind of void type of thing, that nobody kind of, they just want to overpass it, because they think that, you know, there are harsher things out there, like COVID, you know, that it'll pass when COVID passes. And I think that that's pretty shitty. You know, they could have been dealing with all of this stuff before, but, you know, the COVID kind of kicked it into high gear, you know. I just think, of course, our medical system is overrun and they are exhausted. I understand that. And like, I mean, no disrespect to them. I'm just saying that because of that mental health has been kind of like underseen, or like shown in kind of like a cheesy, not serious way, with the whole like, oh, if I wear a mask, I'm gonna be depressed type thing, you know. And yes, I've heard that plenty of times. So it's just kind of, you know, I would say find that balance, but I don't think there is, because there's just so much going on in the medical world right now that it sucks. There's a lot of pieces that are being not seen. I'm really nervous about returning to work, and here's why. I'm in a household with people that are over 60, okay, and people that have no immune system, or they're immune compromised. So that sucks. That really sucks. And I have to be extremely, extremely careful on what I do. And there's a lot of people out there that don't wear masks still. They don't think that it's you know, a good thing, or if one person's wearing a mask, that they don't have to wear a mask. Excuse me. And it's very nerve-wracking, because I do live with people that are immune compromised, so with anything, they're screwed. So like, I have to be extremely careful on how I balance work life and the safety of my family. So I have to like be really careful. Like if I get any symptoms, like I have to call in right away, like cough, cold, whatever. I'm not gonna go in, because I don't want to risk, even if it's a cold, you know, again, people shouldn't be going out, whatever, that's the whole thing. You know, and like when I get back, like I have to strip down shower, clean my clothes, like throw them into the wash. I mostly now kind of stick into my own bubble, and I'm very cautious of like what I touch around the household, you know, where I go in the household. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but I want to protect my family, so I mostly stay in my bubble. And you know, I do exit that bubble around the house, but again, I monitor what I touch and where I go and for how long, and I keep distance. That's just for my sanity and to keep like my family safe, because you never know. There are many strains of COVID out there now. There's some from South Africa, there's some from the UK, and you just don't know. So I'm taking that precaution. And I am working part-time right now, so just how my hours are, I just have to be extremely careful. And I know that some people are gonna look at it and be like, well, you know, you're overplaying it, blah blah blah. You know, there's plenty of people out there that have health issues and all that stuff. I respect you. I just want to look out for the best interests in my family. So I'm not more so, like, I am kind of worried about me, but I'm more so worried about my family. I don't want any of them to get sick. I don't want myself to get sick. So it is extremely, extremely nerve-wracking, and scary. And I know that sounds very dramatic, but I have family members that I have to worry about, and I just have to be very cautious. Basically that ties in, do I feel safe and comfortable being out during this time? So I do the grocery shopping mostly for my family, and again, it is scary, like when you don't see people taking this as seriously as they should, and then, you know, you see, because I don't know how it works with you guys, but for my Google phone, well, I have a Samsung phone, right? And I get these like news clip things, and you can click on it. And it basically shows like, oh, the grocery stores this week, which stores had COVID, and you know, there's a fair bit that is within my family's area, right? And we usually travel to these grocery stores, and it's just shitty when you see that, you know, there's COVID cases up the yin-yang in these areas, and you're just like, well, great, right? And it's always nerve-wracking, because you're like, well, I'm wearing a mask, right? But there's always a chance. So yeah, it is a little bit nerve-wracking. Do you feel like the vaccines are helping? I honestly, I don't know. Because where I am, and Canada, I'm just gonna put that because I am from Canada, we aren't getting a lot of vaccines, okay? And the Premier for Ontario has said, well, we are going to have a max vaccine rollout in, I think he said April, May, and June. Okay, that's a few months from now. Like, what are you doing like now? Because yeah, COVID cases are spiking, and I mean spiking, in my area and around my area. And with people not giving a shit about not like traveling outside their bubble, and I mean like traveling outside the bubble, like it's not like, oh, going to the store or being in the car. I mean they're traveling outside and going into areas that have high COVID, and then they're coming back into our region, right? It's crazy, and I don't know if the vaccines are working. I personally think that yes, it was needed, but it was really rushed. So I don't know if it's gonna work. I mean, I hope that it works. I mean, you have to take two vaccines, which is great. But you know, it is kind of like you have to wait and see. I mean, there aren't a lot of people getting vaccines right now, so it's kind of like a kind of waiting game to see. You know, I have no hard feelings, because a lot of people just like, oh, well, how do you feel about China? Shit happens, okay, guys? Do I believe that this was on purpose? I don't know. There wasn't a lot of facts, okay? A lot of it is red tape and the stuff that was leaked to the, you know, here's the thing, it is not only from China anymore. There are new strains coming from around the world, so I have no hatred for anybody. Like, I'm not pissed. I mean, it happens. Like, it was bound to happen. Okay, let's just, honestly, I don't know when the second wave is gonna end. I mean, we are just at the tipping point right now, so honestly, some people would say that some people haven't even left the first wave yet, so that's kind of like out of my hands. My idea for online learning, guys, yes, it's shitty because of the whole network thing, but honestly, it's better than going out and risking your children's lives and teachers' lives. And it must be freaking stressful as a teacher to try to do all of this and this e-learning and all of this. But not to sound like a dick or anything, I'm gonna probably get some hate for this. You're gonna get it eventually in life. I mean, when you get into higher grades, when you get into college and university, it's gonna happen. And to be honest, I think most of our lives are online right now. And yes, is it shitty to be in front of a screen all day? Yes. But it's the safest course. And again, it's not perfect, but it's all part about the learning curve on this, right? What can motivate people from wearing masks and, you know, doing the social distance? The government stopped being wishy-washy, like coming out with half-assed things sometimes, going back and forth, like, oh, you can be around 10 people, now you can't be. Like, it's just like, stop. Have a solid plan, come out with it. Shit changes, change with it, but just don't be all wishy-washy. I think we're going to be forced to wear face masks for a very long time. Probably, I would say 2 years. That's what I was saying before. Honestly, I don't know what the short, medium, or long-term impacts of COVID is. I mean, it's a learning curve for all of us. I can't, like, I don't know, I'm not a mind reader. I think that it's a whole learning curve for everybody, right? So I honestly, I have no idea what the long-term impacts are. I do believe we're gonna have a lot of health issues, but I honestly don't know how to answer that, because I don't know. But anyways, guys, I hope I answered, I'm pretty sure I answered all these questions. You know, it's you know, it's COVID-19. If you guys have any more questions about COVID-19, feel free to leave them below, and I will add them into my Tuesday Q&A. But yeah, that's kind of like my opinion and 2 cents in it. So I'm gonna leave you guys here. It's a long ass video. Remember, guys, never give up, always keep fighting. You're enough, and you're very much loved, and we will get through this. We will honestly get through this COVID one day at a time, guys. But till then, sending my love. Stay safe, guys, and I'll see you soon.